Hey guys, it's Dustin here with FasterFunds Lending. I'm here with one of our excellent borrowers and tribe member, RJ Campbell. So today we figured we would go live and really talk about how RJ has progressed through the real estate investing world, how he has started building his portfolio, kind of show you based off the title of the video how building a real estate portfolio can be simple yet not easy at the same time. So RJ, again, thank you guys for coming.
You're welcome.
Tell the people out there just a little bit about yourself and what got you into investing in real estate.
So just in the business world, my whole career, Dustin and I go back to a previous life. We worked together, so I've known Dustin probably almost 10 years. So I never had any thoughts of real estate. Watched as Dustin started building a portfolio and moving through the real estate world. And last year, 2019, got together and started asking a lot of questions and just had some interest, my wife and I both, in using real estate as an investment portfolio and building some properties and getting some rental houses. And I had a million questions, especially how do we afford that and how do you borrow money and how do you not put 20% down on every house. And that's where it all led to working with Dustin.
Yeah. So RJ has really fell into the concept of the Burr Model, which is, we know, and we'll talk a lot about this on this channel, but that's going to be buying a house at a discount, rehabbing that property, renting that property, and then refining out to a longer term loan and repeating the process over and over. So that way, by using FasterFunds Lending or a hard money source, you can leverage other people's money and build a lot quicker. So RJ, how many properties do you have right now?
4.
Okay, and you started when?
Beginning of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, so we built 4 in the first year.
So a little bit, almost 18 months, or right at 18 months.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
you've got your 4 properties. So let's talk about what was the thing you didn't know probably out of all that you were really surprised by when you first jumped into it.
The borrowing. So I did not realize that you could borrow money for a rental property or any type of investment property and not putting 20% down and buying from a traditional lender or borrowing from a traditional lender. Had no idea.
Right, so not familiar with the, hard money concept.
Yeah.
Gotcha. If you're like me, a lot of people out there, you think of hard money, you think of Tony Soprano, or at least I did.
Exactly.
So what you're saying now is obviously that was not the case.
Not the case whatsoever.
Okay.
Worked with FasterFunds Lending from the first house that we bought. Again, introduced through Dustin to Suzanne and the team here, and found out how that works. You can borrow what we call hard money, that we joke about is really easy money. Borrow from them short term, then get the properties going, and then you can refinance out later. And working with FasterFunds Lending was, they're easy to work with, but then when you have the team here, it's kind of a second set of eyes. They're looking at the property before they underwrite it also, and works out great.
Awesome. So let's go over, pick one of the 4 properties, and let's kind of do a quick case study on it if you don't mind. So which one would you like to talk about?
You want to start with the first one?
I know a lot about his first one, so it's a fun story.
Yeah.
So, all right, great. So let's just walk through that. I'll ask you some questions about that, kind of some learning experiences. But let's first talk about the numbers behind it. So do you remember what you purchased it for?
That's a great question. I think we bought it for about 68.
68,000.
I think
Okay.
that's what it was.
All right, so 68,000. Again, it's the beginning of 2019. And how did you buy it?
Bought it, so found it through a wholesaler,
Okay.
and then borrowed the money through FasterFunds Lending.
How much money did you borrow?
Purchase price. That price, the 68.
Okay.
So
So
63, whatever it was. I don't remember now, but yes.
So
Borrowed
borrowed
the full amount.
the full amount. So
Yes.
you didn't put any money down and were able to purchase the property.
Correct.
All right, and then you were going to fund the rehab out of your pocket,
Yeah,
correct?
we funded the rehab out of the money that we had.
All right, so let's talk about that rehab. How easy was it?
Oh, that was such an easy rehab. Everybody says the first rehab you do is when you're going to learn almost everything you're ever going to know, and we ran into every snag that you could run into, from contractor challenges, that being the main one. So budgets went higher than we thought, extended time frames, but ended up being a great property.
Yep.
Great renter in there, it's been in there for a while, and so we learned a lot on that one. But we got it all done within the time, and the team here was great to work with, and yeah, we survived.
Good, so I want to dive into those challenges, because again, I know what some of those challenges were, but so how long did it take you to rehab the property?
I think about 4 months on rehab, 3 to 4 months.
How
long should have been a big rehab.
Okay, so that was how long
Yeah.
should have taken
I
you?
think that rehab we thought was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
Perfect, yeah.
We ended up double that.
Okay, so 4-month rehab. How much did it cost?
Probably 20,000 on the rehab. I think
Okay.
pretty close.
All right, so 20,000 on the rehab, and I'm just gonna tell a story because it was one of my favorite stories. So RJ has a full-time job. Me and someone else who's kind of helping RJ along with this stopped by one day, and the contractor and his wife were the people working on the property, and we walked into the kitchen and there was no kitchen ceiling anymore. And the contractor's wife said, yeah, it just fell down.
It just fell out by itself.
It was interesting because you could see up there that there was footprints from the inside where the contractor was crawling around and walking. So you had to gut your entire kitchen
Yes.
which was not part of the plan.
Not
originally.
all the plan to gut the entire kitchen.
No.
We were going to do a major kitchen overhaul
Yeah.
on that one, but that ended up being the ceiling as well and the soffits. And while we're at it, let's do all new cabinets and new countertops, and then you run into all the electrical that's behind those, and
Yeah,
that extended the time and extended the budget a little bit with the kitchen.
yeah. So, and you had to fire a contractor on that?
Oh, yep. First job, had to learn how to fire a contractor.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Good weekend.
yeah. But again, why I'm sharing this with you is because the title of this video is Building a Rental Portfolio Can Be Simple, meaning the mechanics of the BRRRR strategy is a very simple process, yet it doesn't have to be easy all the time.
Not have to be easy.
All right, so we purchased the property, we rehabbed it 4 months. How fast did you find your renter in there?
Probably 2 weeks, maybe a little less, right away, very quick. It's a
Good.
great house, beautiful little house.
Yep. And is that tenant, did you change tenants? She's still there?
Yep, renewed. Actually signed a longer term lease on the second one. It's a great tenant, good
Perfect.
kids, they love the house, they don't want to move, they don't want to move their children around.
Perfect.
Yeah, she's been a great tenant.
Good, and what's the rent on it?
$12.50.
$12.50, all right. So if we follow the BRRRR strategy, we bought the house at a discount
Yep,
from a wholesaler. We rehabbed it, had challenges during the rehab process, but rehabbed it. And then the rent part went pretty easy.
it went very easy. Yes.
Okay. So now the last to the step is going to be the refi part. So that refi, let's talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, the whole story of
The whole story right now.
Okay, so then we have to go to a lender.
Yep.
Of course, we did not necessarily go right to the lender that Dustin knows the best. So we tried somebody new. There were definitely challenges with that one. And we switched, midstream, and then went to one of the lenders that, Dustin uses a lot, FasterFunds Lending uses a lot, recommends people to, and then the refi process was easy.
Yeah.
The house appraised exactly what we thought it should appraise for. We were able to close on the deal, close it, close the loan, get our money back.
Perfect. So in that process, the first bank that he went to, the appraiser came out and didn't appraise the house properly or based off the comps that we thought was going to happen there. And this happens a lot in this process. I don't want to say a lot, but it can happen a lot. The thing is, you're not married to that lender until you close on that property. So you can just pay for an extra appraisal and then go to another lender to get a better appraisal where you can get your money out. So you're able to appraise it. So how much is that house appraised for?
110.
Okay, so you're able to pull the 80% out of there.
Yep,
So you paid off FasterFunds.
paid off FasterFunds.
You got the majority of your rehab back.
Yep, paid ourselves back.
Perfect. And then how much are you cash flowing each month?
That house cash flows after everything, net, all expenses, CapEx set aside, probably $250 a month.
Okay.
And that's everything set
Right.
aside.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's $250 a month extra you guys bring into your household.
yes.
You have, based off your numbers, about $83,000 into the house.
Yep.
And the house is worth $110,000.
Correct.
So what is that math?
$27,000.
$27,000 right
Instant
there.
equity.
Instant equity by not, and you didn't have to put any money down.
Correct.
Okay.
The system worked.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is the BRRRR strategy. You can build a rental portfolio quickly, leveraging other people's money and getting all the money you put into it, the time you make, and then start building that rental portfolio that pays you every single month.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so
Simple and easy.
it's simple and easy. So what was probably the biggest learning moment that you had during this process?
I think we had two. First one was learning to manage a contractor.
Yeah.
So there was a lot that we learned up front on how to better manage that process.
Yep.
And then two, finding the right lenders on the back end when you need to refi. Somebody who's familiar with the process, definitely friendly for investors, investment friendly, lender, and we use two, and those we've got back to the same one. So those are the two things we learned. Smart on the front end with the contractor, use the right lenders on the back end, so it makes the refi very, very quick.
Awesome. So guys, that's it. That's the BRRRR strategy. I wanted you to hear this from a current borrower now. We are here to help with any of this. This is what FasterFunds is put in place for. We are a short-term lender in the St. Louis area that helps landlords and helps rehabbers out. I love the BRRRR strategy. I love talking about the BRRRR strategy and also flipping and rehabbing houses. We help introduce you to some of the banks that we recommend, which again, RJ kind of made a good case in point that it helps when you have that inside connection there. So, of course, if you guys have any questions for me or I can get them to RJ, you can just comment below or send us a private message. And also, we look forward to seeing everyone this Thursday night at the Buyers Club because we're back and we're live. I believe RJ said he was buying everyone a drink who watched this, so I don't know. No, just kidding. But again, thank you guys for this. We're going to start doing these our live videos probably every other week, just getting some case studies and testimonials in here, just showing you how easy you can invest in real estate. That's all I have. Everybody make it a great day. Thanks a lot.